Hey Mama, I feel very grateful to be with you today. I feel honored that you are listening to me and hopefully choosing this podcast to help you find more positivity during your pregnancy, because that is my passion and that is what I want to encourage. And I've been listening to it's called Catch the Vision, a Catch the Vision course. And in that, there was one audio that was like 4 minutes long that super motivated me on how women and we as mothers need each other. We need each other's light and we need to shine for each other to help lift each other in the parts of our lives that are hard, to help each other through and to be a light to those who are struggling and help them get through it and encourage them to offer their light. So I know you have a light. I know it might feel dim during pregnancy, but you have a light. Even if that light is just growing your baby, that is amazing, Mama. Keep going. I am cheering for you. Let's get into today. That's a lot of tease for how pregnancy is preparation, and this is going to be our induction episode. Hi, I'm Jocelyn, host of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast. I help pregnant women and mothers to find positivity in their season of life through changing their thoughts to work for them and not against them. I help mothers find the small, doable steps in thought and action without making drastic changes to their everyday mom life. And I can help you. Thanks for joining. Pregnancy is preparation. I am a fan of alliteration, and if I can use it in my titles, I will. But it's really true. It's not that just there for alliteration. Pregnancy is preparation, and it's preparation for childbirth. When I went into my first childbirth, I was not very well educated. I would call it a little bit of ignorance. Like I just didn't know, but it wasn't like on purpose. I wasn't ignorant on purpose. But once I learned so many, like I kind of learned by experience and then doing my own research. I learned both ways. And I learned that there are different ways to have babies and different ways the babies can come into your family and what different providers like. I thought all providers just kind of were the same. And what I mean by providers is doctors. I thought all doctors were the same. And ultimately they are, because they all want healthy baby and healthy mama, which is the end goal. It's just how they get there that is different. I found out that medical doctors encourage stuff like inductions and epidurals because they're a little bit more controlled and they can be controlled. At least that has been my experience. Maybe your experience has been different, and if it has, that's cool. And I'm not saying that one's bad, it's just different. And I feel like being aware of those differences is the first place to start in your mind when you are preparing for childbirth. So if you want to have an induction, a medical doctor might be a great choice for you. If you want a C-section, same thing. But if you want a home birth, a medical doctor is not going to be the provider that you're going to want. You're going to want like a midwife or someone that does those home births and those natural deliveries. And they both take care of you like in your prenatal checkups, but they might do it a little bit different. And the conversations might be a little bit different as you go about those. So my first tip in preparing for induction is to realize what provider you resonate most with, or what doctor, what type of deliverer, if that's the right way to put it. What even is induction? Maybe this is your first baby and you don't even realize or know what induction was. I will be honest that I was not super versed on it for my first baby. But an induction is basically, like in simple terms, and this is from the internet, it says being induced simply means that your labor contractions are started using medications or other methods because they aren't starting naturally. Or in some cases, they just start you before your contractions even start. I have known of doctors that will sometimes start patients a little early just to help mama out and allow the pregnancy to be done early. And I'll allow you to form your own opinions on that and what you think. But induction is basically where they start your contractions for you. Or if your contractions aren't progressing, they give you like medications or do some other things to help those contractions progress. And there are different ways for labor to be induced. As I mentioned, there are medical ways to induce that labor. Some of the medical words are, they do use like I am not very good at medical words, so forgive me, but it's prostaglandin gel, synthetic oxytocin, maybe a Foley catheter, could be a few options that can help with some induction, and those are more medical. They also could do like a membrane sweep, which is where this one is drug-free, but they'll insert their finger inside of you and sweep the membrane surrounding your baby from your cervix. So it just kind of helps the labor to progress a little bit faster by doing that. And they can even do like breaking your water. Those are several different ways of trying to help those contractions go forward and induction. When I think of the word induction, I usually think of the medical sense of being induced and having the Pitocin or whatever help speed along those contractions. And I was induced for one of my babies. I was actually induced for my second baby. I had some weird bleeding. I was pretty scared and terrified because of what happened with my first baby. The doctor was just ready to start me. Now that I have learned that some of that bleeding was okay and I could have let my body progress, I might have done it differently, but I didn't know that at the time. And so I was just like, okay, we'll just do this. The thing about being induced, I think this is another mental preparation, is that, in my opinion, the contractions that come from being medically induced are much stronger and harder, faster than the contractions that your body naturally gives. And I have had a baby being induced, and I've had a baby all natural unmedicated, and that has been my experience. When I was induced, those contractions when I was at a 4 felt like the contractions when I was at like a 7 or an 8 with my natural baby, because I don't know what or why the difference, but it hurt so much worse being induced than my own contractions. And that there's a lot of factors that could be in there. It could have been my mindset. It could have been a variety of different things that kind of would have made that a little bit different. But just mentally prepare yourself for that. Prepare that those contractions might be strong. Contractions can get intense. And depending on the mental training you've done, they can be very painful. If you haven't done any mental training, like my second baby, I didn't do mental training. I didn't know I should do mental training. I didn't know what a contraction felt like because my first baby came via C-section 9 weeks early. And it was all different and it was all concerning, and it can be very hard and it can be very painful if you're not prepared to handle that. Contractions, if you've already had a baby, you know what they feel like, but if you haven't, they're like, I call them cramps on steroids. Like, they tighten and feel like a really, really, really bad cramp as they get harder and harder. And so mentally preparing yourself for being aware of these things or reminding yourself of these things can be helpful. So if you know that with a medical induction, the contractions might be harder, maybe you also know that you want an epidural. You don't want to have to deal with that pain. And I don't blame you. I did that with baby number 3. I reached a point where it was just too much and give me the epidural. Baby 2, I did the epidural as well. And epidurals are amazing. It's amazing that we live in a time where they can take away some of that pain. The epidural, though, is a big long needle that goes into your back. That alone is a little bit scary. There's side effects that can come with an epidural. Epidurals are very expensive, or at least for me, they have been very expensive. They do help you not feel the pain, and they do help you to get rest. If it's just been too much and too long and too hard, they can be a good option. And for me in the past, at those births, they were a good option. I'm not here to encourage you what way to have a birth, because I know we all have to do it different ways based on where we're at in our learning and knowledge. And that's how I've progressed. I've done it different ways based on my knowledge and learning, and I'm trying to do what I feel is best for mom and baby. We really don't have time to get into a lot of the details of all the preparation you could do for these types of birth, of all the mental things you can do to help you when you're trying to plan for it. That's why I encourage you to do your research. Look into being induced. Look into what drugs you would be okay being used for your body. Like, I didn't even look into that. I just trusted the doctors and nurses. And in most cases you can. And it's a good thing that we have that trust. But I've also learned it's good to look into those things, to do your own research so that you know what's going on. Because you know who best takes care of you and your health? It's you. You as the mom growing this baby is the one who takes the best care of your health. And you are your best advocate. And it's hard to be an advocate if you aren't aware. Anyway, those are my thoughts on a little bit of preparation for pregnancy, meaning childbirth, or preparation in pregnancy for childbirth. It does take preparation because it's a big event. You birth a baby out of your body. It is so cool and so amazing. Prepare your mind for it. Do your research. There are so many classes and courses you can take that can give you information. Here on this podcast, I usually focus more on positivity during pregnancy. I don't do as much on childbirth. This little series is kind of unique and special, but it's also part of pregnancy, which is why I still focus on it here and there. But I want you to feel positive when you are pregnant, when you're in the depths of despair and you don't feel like you have that light. I have a program that I've created called the Positive Pregnancy Program. It has 42 videos in it that are 2 minutes to 6 minutes long that encourage you to do mental mindset exercises to encourage a better and more happier mindset during pregnancy, even when you feel like crap, even when you feel like puking and you're tired and exhausted and your emotions are out of control. They are simple. They are easy. You can do them on your couch or your bed because that's what it takes. It takes those little shifts. By small and simple things are great things brought to pass. If you are interested in that, it is the top link in the show notes, and I'm excited to help you in having and finding a positive pregnancy. If you're just finishing up your pregnancy, I encourage you to keep me in mind because you're going to have friends that are going to become pregnant or sisters, or you'll in the future become pregnant again. Keep me in mind and send them my way to have a more positive pregnancy. We as women can do and strengthen this. I was going to say, we can do this together and strengthen each other throughout this season, is what I wanted to say before I fumbled over my words. I'm cheering for you, Mama. Keep up the good work. Until next time. Thank you for being a part of the Positive in Pregnancy and Motherhood podcast, for listening, for sharing, and most of all, for applying these tools into your own life to improve your own happiness so that you can find your own better thoughts for a better you in a positive pregnancy, in losing that stubborn baby weight, and becoming the mom you desire to be through taking small steps in thought and action to reach your goals. If you are a mother who has an inner desire to to enjoy motherhood and pregnancy better, but you are having difficulty figuring it out? I can help you. I can help you find the small, doable steps without drastic changes to your everyday mom life. Reach out, let's connect, and let's see you move forward. My name is Jocelyn, and I thank you for listening. Until next time.